Hi,
morning.
Cheryl. How are you?
Hi, really great. I think you might have just answered my question, but I'll ask it anyways. It's how funny how we're all of one mind anyways. And
Yeah.
my question is balancing between doing the self-inquiry to see what's in the way of me being the dominant force in my life versus doing the work to prove you're the dominant force in your life. Because sometimes there's this mentality of there's no pain, no gain, just go out and push through it. And I find sometimes I'm just frozen if that happens. And then there's times when I'm sitting on the couch being in my comfort zone and I do need to kick off. I need to kick myself in a little bit of a push. And I was thinking about the guy on the slope you said, like he just a big smile. I'm sure it took something to get up there and he's just loving it. And I know there are these times when just a little push and I'm like, oh, I am amazing. This is great, right? Because otherwise I'm in the story about myself. And so I'm wondering if you have an answer and you just said being present in the moment. I was like, yeah, that's probably it. But balancing between these different ways of motivating ourselves and
Yeah. Yeah.
so that you're not frozen and you're actually moving
Yeah.
ahead in life.
Well, you said something, a word that's like nails on a blackboard to me. Okay, so I'll start there. You don't have to prove yourself to anybody. Stop trying to prove yourself. Stop looking for approval. Stop trying to prove yourself, and basically get on with the joy of this thing called life, right? And life is, and today I kind of introduced something new we haven't really talked about before, but the emergent process. Absorb yourself in the emergent process. Every day, look and see how much of my day is in the emergent process and how much of it is in the repetitive pattern. Because the repetitive pattern doesn't update, it doesn't develop, and it continues to create the same suffering. And those thoughts you have are all part of that repetitive process. So the goal really is to remove that repetitive process through awareness, understanding, which you're starting to have, and just be there with it, right? Stop trying to kill it because you want to kill it. You don't want to kill it through your knowing. You want to experience it and start to develop insights. And what will happen is the taste or the flavor of that repetitive pattern will start to change, because you'll start to say, wow, this is not something, it's not only not serving me, it's not me, because it isn't you. Remember, if you're focusing on doing things that are in the process of emergence, you are changing every day. You are a little more evolved today than you were yesterday. And that's the evolution. I think we're put on this planet to evolve our soul, to become everything we want to be, and then share that with others. And I think that is what creates the warmth, the connection. That's what life's worth living for. And it's not how well you're doing. It's not, certainly you want a feedback loop and you want to have mentors to help you in the areas that you may have scotomas or blind spots. But it's not about approval. It's not about proving. You don't need to prove yourself to anybody. You're the most fantastic, and everybody on here, you have everything inside of you. It's actually not adding stuff. It's letting go of all these preconceived notions that we have about ourselves, which inhibits us because of our personal mind getting away from fully experiencing every moment of life. Because I can tell you that my experience now, and I've been doing this for a while, is I gave you 3 examples of the emergent process in me and my skiing, observing nature yesterday, being in joy of watching an individual who has some challenges. Life creates traumatic events. Life is unstable. It's how we respond to it that determines the outcome. And when you get to the point where it's like water on a duck's back and you can take it in, and you know what? It's like eating energy bars. Any obstacle gives you fuel to help you become more, and you look at life that way. Think about it. If life was perfect and we lived in utopia, we'd all be drug addicts, because we would be so freaking bored that we would just be looking to get away from it. It's kind of like, some of those movies, like I forgot the movie with Jim Carrey. I forgot, there was a movie. Anyway, this movie where everything was perfect in the world, and it was all fake. It was a studio, and that's not what life's about. Life is about taking these things. And by the way, crying when someone passes, about seeing a movie that makes you laugh. It's about fully expressing the full gamut of emotions, because our emotions aren't something to suppress. We're not going to be happy all the time. but we can be fulfilled all the time. We can be fulfilled in dealing with someone's, someone's illness. We can help be part of that and experience and build emergence within that relationship where we spend the time together, right? So you've got it all. Just go focus on the things that you want to bring in and stop trying to do a report card on the way. All right.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. I appreciate you. I appreciate this. And it just reminded me of the launch event last year where it was just like we could just be present with the emotion and it disappeared in like 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And just letting it go. And so thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And one more thing on that, Cheryl, is that, when you feel the emotion, process it fully, it goes away. And there's a charge of energy that went through you, right? And you feel it. It may be one of joy, it could be one of sadness, fear. It's okay. Hey, listen, yesterday I was standing on the edge of a cliff, right, where we had to go down a chute, and there was fear, and I embraced it and said, okay, yeah, I'm nervous. Let me make sure I'm precise here. It's not like I can sloppily just go wherever I wanted. So those emotions are part of life, but they're 90-second deals. They're not, when you grab onto them and don't let it go, or you suppress it down and don't release it, then it becomes a neurosis. Then it becomes something that's not real. Then it's not the proper response of responding to a stimuli in the environment. Then it becomes a cognitive emotive loop. Then it becomes the stored trauma. And then it becomes something every time something stimulates that. Like if you saw a snake and now you see a rope on the road, you're suddenly, totally neurotically not going into your garden because you're worried there might be a snake there, right? I mean, then life becomes retracted, contracted versus spacious. So, all right, go get them, girl.
Thank you.